And in the days following Wednesday's deadly events, we have heard many stories of the brave people in the crowd that stepped in to help protect others. Among them was a couple from Maize, Trey and Filter. Trey and another fan in attendance tackled a suspected gunman as he ran by them and held him down with a group until police could arrive. Now a national nonprofit is recognizing that bravery. The Uvalde Foundation for Kids is honoring him with the National Heroism Award. The nonprofit was created in 2022 after the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and is dedicated to ending school violence. The foundation said Trey's instinct to take down a suspected shooter helped save the lives of many students in attendance.